The PFF QB Annual is live. It's now a part of your PFF Edge or Elite subscription. And I'm here with the executive producer of the QB Annual, the guy who put it all together. George, let's discuss the greatness. It's 341 pages of quarterback analysis you can't find anywhere else. Here's our beautiful cover. What else can we find here, George, as we look at the table of contents?
You want to move past the cover? I thought the cover was great. Before we get into the quarterback by quarterback stuff, there's some good articles at the beginning that can help you understand what you're going to read for each quarterback. So whether it's understanding how the grading happens, throw for throw, which I think is massively valuable, to just looking at the different stats, which ones are stable, which ones aren't season to season, that can really help you understand a quarterback's path throughout the past few seasons and what to expect going forward, which obviously everyone wants to do. And then there's some nice league-wide stuff in there as well. You can see all the quarterbacks at once.
The league-wide breakdowns are great, and then you get into the individual quarterbacks. We have 35 separate passers here, 9 pages of information.
Wait, hold on.
What do we have?
Big feature. You can actually click on the players' names now and go directly to that. That was a big ask. It's something that was a real pain for everyone, including us, that was using it. And on the page before, by the way, you can click on those too. So
you can click right on the link and take you right to the article.
It's a beautiful thing.
Look at that. That's why you're the executive producer.
Right.
And then after you click on Patrick Mahomes' name, this is the first page. You get to see that weekly breakdown using PFF grade. Our QB guru, Zach Robinson, gave a little synopsis of each quarterback season. I like the at-a-glance, week-by-week breakdown, George.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how a season grade is comprised, right? It's not all smooth sailing the entire season, and there's value to being average, right? If you can put together a string of average games, if you don't have those deep spikes, it's going to really help you over the course of the season, which is nice.
And that's the mint green area is your average to slightly above average area. And then we get into only average, just mediocre. And then we get into a lot of the good stuff. And I think, again, 8 more pages to go through on each quarterback. But this one, the key metrics and where they rank, clean pocket grade, under pressure grade, and all these different scenarios. This gives you just a great snapshot of a quarterback's skill set from the 2018 season.
Yep, things that are really stable, like play from a clean pocket, to things that tend to fluctuate season to season, like great under pressure. So I would not expect Mahomes to be a #1 next year, but we'll see. And then the heat map is cool because you can really identify where the quarterback threw his best throws. That's going to be highlighted in red, pretty easy for you to see.
Red is good, blue is bad when it comes to the heat map. We get to the next page, and this is a nice little breakdown of passer rating when clean, under pressure, no blitz versus blitz. You get to see the different scenarios. The thing I really like here, George, is you get to see the NFL average and really at a quick glance see how well each quarterback performed against his peers.
Yeah, a couple of new additions in terms of which data points are being shown. You'll see yards per play and EPA per play for you nerds out there. And I think the coolest thing for me is to look at the comparison between turnover-worthy play percentage and their actual int percentage here, because a lot of people use ints to describe interceptions, to describe how well they're taking care of the ball. And I think it's better to look at the process than the result.
Turnover-worthy plays more telling, more descriptive of how well a guy actually took care of the ball.
More consistent season to season.
We have a couple more breakdowns. Third down, extremely important. Red zone, extremely important. My favorite thing on this page, though, is you went through all the work to add all of the targeted players on third down and the route tree, and then in the red zone with the route tree, who was targeted. So Travis Kelce with 24 targets in the red zone, 8 more than any other Chiefs receiver.
Yep. I have nothing else to add.
Perfect. Let's move on. Anything that stands out on this page as we get to a few more cool little graphics here?
I think this helps you see where the quarterback is in rhythm. Looking at just, okay, well, if it's a really quick throw, 2.1 to 2.5, and then as you get deeper in the shot clock, how good are they at improvising, right? You'll see some players where it's just an absolute disaster once they pass 3 seconds. And then by depth, I think is super telling, because where you're able to make the most of your money is going to be 0 to 19 yards, right? That's the biggest chunk of your throws. And 20 plus tends to be a small sample size, kind of hit or miss. So you can see the breakdown of where the quarterback won and what you might expect going forward.
All right, and then we move on to the just traditional passing stats year over year. Patrick Mahomes only has 2 years, but this will go back to 2013 for all the quarterbacks that have those data points, and then a breakdown of the detailed targets, who they targeted, and all the different stats that went there. And then we get into my favorite stuff, a lot of the good stuff. If you could see here, the player where we show the target and just how accurate each quarterback was. This is the best thing we've ever done at PFF, in my opinion. Quarterback accuracy charting. We've charted every single pass and said, look, did he put it right on the frame? Did he put it on a guy in stride to catch and run? Did he leave it too far behind, but it was catchable? All those things rolled in to this nice little chart here saying, look, this bullseye, dark green is good. Patrick Mahomes, well above the league average with regard to accuracy.
Yeah, and you can go read the article at the beginning you describe sort of how we chart all of those things. It's really interesting and help you understand this. A couple of really important things to take away from this here. The first is, I'd rather throw the ball low than high. And so you'll see a guy that, look, this says red, he's throwing low and underthrowing above the league average, but it's relative to being better, than throwing sort of a lot of passes behind or way in front or overthrows. Those are more likely to be intercepted. So there's some cool things to kind of take into
safer misses account. Down here.
Exactly. And then my favorite thing is, where are they in terms of accuracy? Those are those passes on the frame or in perfect location, given the different separations they're throwing to. So we see that throws into tight coverage over the course of seasons, not quite as stable. So it'll be interesting to see if Mahomes can keep that up. Most stable thing, how accurate are they throwing to open targets?
Yeah, so this breakdown shows catchable pass percentage, uncatchable pass percentage, and their accuracy on open throws, throws with a step of separation, and tight window throws as well. And I like this comparison against the league average by depth because, yeah, some guys check down too much and make this look good. This is where you sort that out because this is by pass depth. And we move on to more of the accuracy stuff. This is using tight window throws versus the open throws, as you mentioned. How often do they have open throws? That is a massive number when it comes to NFL success.
Yeah, the more open throws you can create, the better chance you have at gaining a ton of yards. It basically doubles your yards per attempt, open versus tight. So you want as many, and step isn't bad either. Having a step of separation in the NFL is basically open, but we break it down into both of those tranches here. And then you can look at how well do they do when they throw to the place that they're looking at the top of their drop versus getting to their next read in the progression. You'll see some really interesting stuff here with turnover-worthy play percentage. You'll see some quarterbacks, particularly younger quarterbacks, when they go to their next read, you'll see that skyrocket. Didn't happen for Mahomes this past season because he's pretty great.
Yeah, this was one of the more advanced things that we did. First look versus next look versus check down, and then scramble drill. Look at Mahomes, 12% of his passes were on the scramble drill, double what the NFL average was. So you get to see that breakdown and where these passes came from. And then we took that look data and added one more step to it and said, okay, when he's looking at the middle of the field at the top of his drop, here's his passing chart. When he's looking to the right at the top of the drop with multiple receivers there, here's his passing chart. Here's my favorite one with Mahomes. When he gets to the top of his drop and his first read is to the left with only one receiver, somehow he ended up throwing way back to the right a couple times because of those scramble drills. These are some very telling charts with the stats and the passing map paired together.
Yeah, and you can see, again, how they perform. A nice thing here is we added the uncatchable percentage. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but look, it's nice to throw accurate passes. That is super valuable. But it's terrible to throw uncatchable passes. And so you want to know, is the guy being accurate, but also is he minimizing throws that no one has a chance at catching, because you can't possibly gain yards on those unless you get very, very lucky. So you can see that metric here. You also have EPA per play, which is nice to see. More of a team-centric stat, right? EPA per play, not all on the quarterback. The receiver has to make some plays too. So for the Chiefs, that should look good all throughout this one.
So we're just trying to add as much context to quarterback play as possible. 9 pages per quarterback. I know we have all 32 NFL teams as team clients, and we sit and walk them through the same exact breakdowns that we're walking you through here today. So we hope you enjoy it. It's all a part of your PFF Edge or Elite package. Live right now, the 2019 PFF QB Annual.